This is Power Hour with Gabriella Power.
Hello and welcome to Power Hour. I'm Gabriella Power. Coming up on the show, prosecutors have charged Tyler Robinson with the murder of Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk, and the state is seeking the death penalty.
We did file just recently, within the last few minutes, a notice of intent to seek the death penalty that was filed by Utah County Attorney Jeff Gray. So that should be in the court's file.
The chilling text messages between accused killer Tyler Robinson and his trans boyfriend on the day Charlie Kirk was murdered have been revealed, and ABC News described them as very touching.
It was very touching in a way that I think many of us didn't expect. A very intimate portrait into this relationship.
I mean, just disgusting. Also, we'll cross to the UK, where President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump have touched down for the president's second state visit. But first, Utah County District Attorney Jeff Gray has addressed the media, providing more details about this accused killer, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson. His parents have told authorities that over the last year or so, Robinson had become more and more left.
Robinson's mother expressed concern to her husband that the suspect shooter looked like Robinson. Robinson's father agreed. Robinson's mother explained that over the last year or so, Robinson had become more political and had started to lean more to the left, becoming more pro-gay and trans rights oriented.
Now, prosecutors say that Robinson had been planning the attack for more than a week. They alleged that he left a note for his boyfriend that stated, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and I'm going to take it." Robinson also texted his lover and roommate, "To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I'm sorry to involve you." His boyfriend replied, "You weren't the one who did it, right?" And Robinson responded back, "I am, I'm sorry." Just incredibly chilling to hear that. And what we've seen over the last 6 days, while the world has been mourning the death of Charlie Kirk, is a disgusting response from parts of the far left. Here is Democrat Ilhan Omar's response.
And I think, you know, there are a lot of people who are out there talking about him just wanting to have a civil debate.
Complete rewriting of history.
Yeah, there is nothing more effed up, you know, like than to completely pretend that, you know, his words and actions have not been recorded and in existence for the last decade or so.
And here are just some of the many left-wing lunatics celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder for the world to see.
I just want to be part of your
Your body on my jeans, put your body on my jeans. Double C's, double jeans. No trust.
Yeah, and sadly, this reaction comes as no surprise. We've seen this kind of sick reaction time and time again. And a new poll shows that Liberals are more likely to say violence can be warranted in order to achieve political goals than Conservatives. This is the YouGov survey that was taken in the immediate aftermath of Charlie Kirk's assassination. And a quarter of respondents who identified as very Liberal said that violence can sometimes be justified to achieve political goals. And you wonder how anyone could ever reach the point where they support political violence. But then again, you look at these prominent figures on the left repeatedly calling for it.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face.
I said if we were in high school, I'd take you behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Punch some people in the face!
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Look as his character is stabbed to death.
Where is John Wilkes Booth when you need him?
That's it right there. Pull it up.
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
A Missouri state senator is under investigation by the Secret Service after saying she hopes President Trump is assassinated.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
Joining us now is independent journalist Brittany Hopper. Brittany, it's wonderful to see you. Let's start with the latest details coming out of Utah. Prosecutors have charged Tyler Robinson with the murder of Charlie Kirk. And Utah County District Attorney Jeff Gray says that the 22-year-old accused shooter is facing 7 counts. They include aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury, 2 counts of obstruction of justice, 2 counts of witness tampering, and a count of commission of a violent offence in the presence of a child. Brittany, prosecutors also say that Tyler Robinson had become more and more left. They've revealed chilling messages between Robinson and his roommate, who is Lance Twiggs, who's transitioning from male to female. And the state is seeking the death penalty. But can I get your reaction to the latest developments?
I mean, I know so much more continues to unfold, and we're learning so much more about this sick individual. But yeah, I mean, radicalized to the left, and we are seeing this more and more too often, unfortunately. And then this political assassination in front of our eyes. You know, I think we've all said this, it's been said before, but we can't say this enough. There will never be a Charlie Kirk again in our lifetime. And I think that what we saw happen and what we're seeing developing, what's coming out more and more every single day, actually hour by hour, we're trying to piece everything together, right? We still have so many questions, but I think the biggest question right now is the mentally deprived people out here who are being radicalized and basically celebrating this father's and husband's death. This is what we need to be talking about.
Absolutely.
I mean, why are we talking more about this? The people who are actually celebrating this man's death. And then, yes, this sicko is up for the death penalty. I am all for the death penalty. In fact, let's grab our popcorn and watch this man get the death penalty, in my opinion. But you know, I'm still in question with a lot of things, and I still think that there are a lot of questions that need to be answered regarding this this killing, this murder, this political assassination, if you will. Were other people involved? The old man that was, or the elderly man, I should say, that was arrested, you know, the latest today was that he tried to say that he did it to give the shooter more time. So were they connected? Were they together? There's just so many pieces to this puzzle that I think we're still learning, and we're still going to be learning in days and weeks ahead.
Absolutely. Of course, it is still early in the investigation. But as you mentioned, Brittany, we've just seen such a sick reaction from parts of the far left following Charlie Kirk's assassination, the most brutal thing I think I've ever seen. And now it's interesting, we've seen lefties on TikTok celebrate Charlie's death. And this new YouGov poll shows that Liberals are actually more likely to justify political violence than Conservatives. And the poll, I think, is no surprise, seeing as we are witnessing so many crazy lefties jumping up and down and dancing that Charlie was killed.
I don't understand where the humanity is in the world right now. We have completely lost touch of reality. So we are justifying killing a human being because the differences of our ideologies and politics. It makes zero sense to me. And it's so sad. And all I can say is that I think more people need to find God. More people need to be like this man and what he preached. You don't have to, agree with every single thing that this man preached. However, he was a man of God, a man of family, his wife, father, be good, do good. We need to get that back into the world because it is so out of control what we're seeing. I mean, I can't imagine anyone on the right celebrating God forbid AOC's death. I mean, I don't agree with her ideologies, but if someone did this to her, I would be upset. I mean, it would be sad. Seeing this from the left, it speaks volumes, in my opinion, of how radicalized and how delusional this side has become. It's not the Democrat Party like in the 80s, 90s, even early 2000s.
No.
We have gone to a level of lost all humanity, in my opinion.
Yeah, and we're seeing some crazy lefties right here in Australia behaving the exact same way. I mean, some of the media reports here have been awful, the way they've depicted Charlie and justified his assassination. It's horrific. But the Trump administration has made it clear that America will not be hosting foreigners who celebrate the death of fellow citizens. Here is Marco Rubio.
We are not in the business of inviting people to visit our country who are going to be involved in negative and destructive behavior. Okay, so why should, if I invite someone, if we invite someone to visit the United States of America as a student, as a tourist, as whatever, then they have a different, the standard they should be held to is very high. We shouldn't be bringing people into this country. We should not be giving visas to people who are going to come to the United States and do things like celebrate the murder, the execution, the assassination of a political figure. We should not. And if they're already here, we should be revoking their visa.
Brittany, I could not support this anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree, of course, 1000%. Now, some argue on the other side, well, we're talking about free speech, and Charlie Kirk was all about free speech. However, there's a huge difference between freedom of speech and hate speech. And the radical left, what they're doing right now, celebrating an innocent man's political assassination is hate speech. And 1000%, if you're here on a visa, if you're here visiting our country, you should be out if you are celebrating this man's death. I think if you're even a US citizen and you're celebrating this man's death, you should be kicked out of your job or fired.
Absolutely.
Repercussions should be happening. We should not be seeing this. And we most definitely shouldn't be celebrating it on the media. I mean, we're seeing even some left-wing journalists who are on some mainstream media networks like ABC News, who just recently said what he said about the text messages and the exchanges between the suspect and his lover.
Yeah, roommate.
Whatever the gender of that lover was. I forget. Man, woman. I don't know.
Man transitioning to a female. Exactly. It's really bizarre commentary to kind of say that it was very touching text messages when the reality was that Tyler Robinson had just admitted that he had killed Charlie Kirk. I do not understand it. I want to talk to you about Karen Bass. Just when we thought that LA Mayor Karen Bass couldn't get any lower, there are reports that she refused to follow Donald Trump's directive to honour Charlie Kirk and ordered local fire stations to not lower their flags to half staff. Now, her order was also met with criticism, of course, and some fire stations defied her instructions. But, I mean, it really shows how heartless she is, Brittany.
Well, and I wonder how what she would have done with the George Floyd killing. It was a completely different reaction from her. I just want to know why. Why couldn't she pay the respect and tribute to this man? He influenced millions. He had such a ripple effect, his cause and what he was doing on college campuses with the younger generation and the youth in terms of politics. You don't have to have had to agree with his ideologies and his way of thinking, but he was a huge political figure in our time, connected as up there with MLK Jr. I mean, this is a man who took so many people, and just what he did was just so amazing. Why not give him that honor and respect?
Well said. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. I mean, the message that Charlie Kirk would share with the world about putting faith in God, loving your family, loving your country, I think more people need to listen to him. Now, Charlie Kirk's wife, Iryna Kirk, has shown so much strength, so much grace since witnessing the love of her life be killed in such a horrific way. And she shared this memory of Charlie speaking to one of their children.
Storytelling. So we're here at Bill's Burgers in New York City, and right near this very table was the first time Dada met Mama. And it started as a job interview. And I was asking all these questions, philosophy, religion, Jesus. And then I realized Mama was beautiful and smart and elegant and Christ-like. And so I said, forget this job interview. I want to date you. And I said, I have enough friends. And that's where your journey started.
Brittany, I really admire Charlie and Iryna Kirk for how much love and respect they showed each other, and they were so public about that. You know, I think they were such a great example to young people.
Oh, I know. I get chills watching that. Did you notice how when she's filming and he kept looking up at her, at his while talking to his daughter? And I think this just encompasses so much about Charlie Kirk, of just how he was just first and foremost a man of God, man of his wife, just an amazing husband and devoted father. And you know, it's tough to watch. I know you got emotional last week. You were so raw and real, and I think we all loved seeing that so much, because this is the effect he had on so many of us across the world, because this was really him. I mean, look at this. I mean, what a beautiful moment. You know, this is what he was preaching. This is what he was talking about. This is what he was debating, just getting back to, you know, finding God, finding a higher power, praying, being with family, putting them first. I just, yeah, I mean, it's the chilling video, and it's so sad, the entire thing.
Thank you for saying that. I mean, so many of us right around the world are just absolutely heartbroken, because we all knew what Charlie was really like, as you say, man of God, and watching videos of him with his family, it's just devastating. Before I let you go, Brittany, I want to talk to you about the Emmys. The 77th Emmy Awards were presented on Sunday, and isn't it interesting? Not a single word was uttered at the awards about Charlie Kirk's murder, which is, of course, you know, the most high-profile killing of a political figure since the 60s in America. Although one award winner found time to make a political message, and this is part of Hannah Einbinder's Emmy acceptance speech. Take a listen.
I just want to say, finally, go Birds, and free Palestine. Thank you.
So F-ICE and free Palestine. So an endorsement for Hamas, it seems, right there.
So a couple of things. I used to cover the Emmys. I've covered many, many Emmys. And progressively, I will say, it was getting more and more political and more and more progressive as the years were going by. And watching this the other night, first of all, I couldn't even watch it in its entirety because it was so bad. It's no wonder the ratings are at an all-time low. This is a woman here who is very young. She's Jewish. I'm Jewish. I don't want her to be in our tribe, that's for sure. She's so delusional and brainwashed. I would say one thing to people like this, because, you know, let's remember, she's saying and spouting off free Palestine and F-ICE while she goes in her SUV with her security in her gated community in Los Angeles and then goes to sleep at night, right? Why don't you get a one-way ticket to Gaza and actually really educate yourself about the region and understand what's going on there, versus using this platform to just spew disgusting stuff when you have such a following with these youngsters watching. Yeah. You know, it was so disgusting to me. And I really hope she doesn't work again in Hollywood, because you know what? People are starting to wake up. Read your lines, read your script. You are a paid actor. you're not a politician, you're not out here trying to convince anyone of anything, then go to Gaza. If you're that, if you want to be this, go to Gaza.
Absolutely.
Then you want to report back at the next Emmys.
Yeah, isn't it interesting as well, some of the people who are celebrating Charlie Kirk's death, they claim to be supporters of the LGBTQI plus community, and at the same time they appear to be pro-Hamas. I mean, it's just so hypocritical. One last question before... So the hypocrisy is insane, especially out of Hollywood, and it's from some of these lefties.
She tries to be this feminist, and yet did you see how they had to blur her? Hamas praised her, and they had to blur her off-the-shoulder dress, and yet she's this feminist. And it's like, do you even know what Hamas will do? There's the picture. Yes.
There it is.
Thank you. There it is. Exactly. So Hamas, they post something about praising her, what she says, yet they have to blur her dress. And here she is for, women and women's rights and all that, and LGBTQ community. And yet, does she have any idea what they do in Gaza if you say you're gay?
Yeah, no, and she doesn't want to call that out either, does she? What about calling out Hamas? Anyway, it's absolutely unbelievable. Before I let you go, Brittany, Oscar award-winning Hollywood legend Robert Redford is being remembered as one of the finest actors ever. He died in his sleep at the age of 89 in his home in Utah, and you had the honour of interviewing him for Entertainment Tonight a few years ago. I mean, can I get your reaction to the news?
Yeah, I mean, I remember meeting him, and I was just like, I was awestruck because it's Robert Redford. He is a legend. And I just remember, out of all of these celebrities that I interviewed over the years, working for Entertainment Tonight and CBS News back in the day, he was one of the most charismatic, special people I've ever interviewed. Interesting life and hard worker. And I remember giving him a gift in the middle of our interview. I gave him a fishing lure because he was a huge fisherman, and he was so grateful and thankful and just very soft-spoken and such a gentleman. But what a life he lived, 89 years old, life. May we all live that long, God willing. And I mean, he was a legend. They don't really make them like him anymore.
No, they don't, do they? Brittany Hopper, independent journalist, thank you so much for joining us on Power Hour. Always so wonderful to speak with you.
Thank you for having me and all that you do.
It's time for Media Meltdowns, and this one is dedicated to Jasmine Crockett's insufferable media appearances. Here she is on CNN, claiming that the majority of violent crimes in America is a result of white supremacy.
And if you really want to know who the criminals are in this country, you can Google it. You don't have to trust me. But the people that commit 80% of the most violent crimes in this country are white supremacists. Yet for whatever reason, they sit and they serve at the pleasure of the president. They are the ones that were there on January 6th, tearing our democracy down physically. And now we have them tearing us down right here from within.
I love that she even says, you don't have to trust me, and then makes that outrageous claim 80%. If you do Google it, you'll find that the percentage of violent crimes in the US that are attributed to white supremacy is so incredibly small, it's less than 1%. But here she is last week telling the world that law enforcement is not supposed to prevent crime.
I want to be clear that, law enforcement isn't to prevent crime. Law enforcement solves crime, okay? That is what they're supposed to do. They are supposed to solve crimes, not necessarily prevent them from happening, per se.
Oh, she's bright, isn't she? Here is the Democrat saying all Republicans are racist.
I talk to black folk all the time as somebody that's a child of a preacher. Listen, most black people are not Republicans simply because we just is like, y'all racist. I can't hang out with the KKK in them. That's really what it is. But when we think about who we are as black people and we think about where we come from, most black people have very conservative values, right? But the reality is that, we just can't side with, the neo-Nazis in them. We not dealing with y'all like that, right?
But leftist media outlets like MSNBC cannot get enough of Jasmine Crockett. Here she is in tears while on one of Katie Fang's last shows with the network.
So I want to exercise a point of personal privilege right now. I'm going to play a really quick clip for you, Congresswoman, and ask you a question on the other side. Take a watch and listen. My next guest. Joining me now is Texas State Representative Jasmine Crockett. Representative, so happy to have you here. I know you had a busy day yesterday. Well, Texas State Representative Jasmine Crockett, thank you for being here, and thanks for all of your advocacy. We appreciate it. Okay, that was you and I 3 years ago. That was your first time on the Katie Fang Show. This is the second to the last episode of the show. Congresswoman, I wanted to thank you for always getting up and early and delivering it, but I also want to say thank you for your continuing support for democracy.
Okay, and following the horrific murder of Charlie Kirk, Jasmine Crockett has doubled down on her previous claims that Donald Trump is a wannabe Hitler, insisting that it's a perfectly reasonable claim to make and would not inspire radicals to be violent.
We've got to talk about like what it means when you're running for president or you're running for one of these higher offices and you go out there and you talk about beating people up. You go out there and you say things like, I could shoot somebody in the middle of the street in New York and I could still win. We got to talk about like that is next level. Mm-hmm. Me disagreeing with you, me calling you, a wannabe Hitler, all those things are like not necessarily saying go out and hurt somebody. But when you're literally telling people at rallies, yeah, beat them up, and that kind of stuff, like you are promoting like a culture of violence. So we need to talk about like what it looks like when you don't promote a culture of violence.
Yeah, she is a disgrace. Joining us now is comedian and host of Blaze TV's Prime Time with Alex Stein. Alex, I want to talk to you about Charlie Kirk in a moment, but just quickly, can I get your thoughts on Jasmine Crockett there?
Well, Gabriella, Jasmine Crockett is literally my congresswoman here in Dallas, Texas. And I can't tell you, every day when I look at my social media, there's a new clip that makes me absolutely embarrassed that we have such a person with such low IQ. I mean, this is the thing, is like she is not talented whatsoever. The only reason that she won is because she was the right skin color in a district that had a former congresswoman that retired. So she kind of snuck her way in, and now the left parades her like she is their next political icon. And if that is the strongest person in their bullpen, if Jasmine Crockett really is the political icon that the left tries to, paint her to be, then the left is totally screwed and they will not win an election for the next 30 years. Because when Jasmine Crockett actually gets pressed, she can't answer these questions. No. She doesn't actually have the skills to be a good congresswoman.
No, she's got absolutely no idea. Now, Alex, how are you going? It's been almost 1 week since Charlie Kirk was murdered in the most evil way possible. And of course, he was a great friend of yours. How are you feeling?
Well, America and the world lost an American hero, and I know people have been hearing that over and over, but it is true, because even if Charlie Kirk didn't agree with you politically, he wanted to give you the opportunity to come and speak with him and debate, and he literally reached across the aisle, unlike anybody on the left and unlike anybody on the right for that matter. He truly wanted to actually have a conversation. And this is the problem, too. What's so egregious about this is that Charlie Kirk was only ever respectful. He only had class. He operated with, biblical standards in every decision that he made. And yet these leftist, transgender, mentally ill people still wanted to take out Charlie Kirk, who really, to be fair, is basically pretty moderate. I mean, and I think that's why he was so successful, is that he wasn't, as polarizing as the people that are celebrating his death wanted him to be. So it's just an absolute tragedy. America lost a future president. I lost a person that I, not only called a friend, but a guy that I looked up to, even though he was younger than me. Just a political firehouse. I don't even know what the proper term is. He was a supernova. He was a juggernaut of conservative young people, and it's just sad to see him go. It's impossible to really think that it's impossible to comprehend that it's real.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. He's someone I really looked up to and really admired as well. But it is so horrific, as you say, especially some of the celebrations we're seeing on the far left, people celebrating his death. It's horrific. And, looking at what's unfolded since he died, you trying to make sense of it all. They tried to silence Charlie because he spoke the truth, and also people listened. But it's interesting, by killing him, they have made Charlie's voice even louder. Charlie Kirk's podcast is now the #1 podcast in the world. So this brings me some comfort, knowing that there are more people now listening to him and listening to his wisdom.
No, not only that, but, Turning Point USA, who I'm so lucky they let me be a part of their great organization. They talked about in the past week, Charlie has gotten over 15 billion views on his normal social media platforms. So, of course, Charlie's legacy is going to live on, and we can find a little silver lining that there's a lot of people that might not have known who Charlie Kirk is now that know very well who he is now. So there is a silver lining. But at the same exact moment, I'm finding it very difficult to kind of envision a world being better without Charlie than with him. And I think it's just impossible to think the world is a better place without a true American patriot that believed in God not being here. But we have no choice. What is life? Life is suffering. So we're going to have to suffer through the pain and really honor Charlie by not giving up and continuing to have discussions that might be difficult but are necessary.
Absolutely. Now, prosecutors have charged Tyler Robinson with the murder of Charlie Kirk, and the state is seeking the death penalty. Prosecutors allege that Tyler Robinson became more and more left in recent years. We've also, Alex, seen a lot of fake news online. I mean, there were pictures of Tyler Robinson in a Trump shirt that was circulating online that were fake, and people have even tried to cast the suspect as some kind of MAGA person. It's just another disgusting lie.
Well, the conspiracy theories right now are so prevalent. You can't go on social media without hearing a new conspiracy theory surrounding Charlie's murder. But this is the problem, is that on both sides of the aisle, people have lost faith in the federal government. People have lost faith in the FBI. People have lost faith in actually getting the official story and it being the truth from the American government. So I think that's where we're at, is that I obviously don't want to get into the conspiracies yet. I don't want to jump to any conclusions. We have to wait and see what happens.
Of course.
But there's going to be an ecosystem of people just spreading the craziest conspiracies to get clicks. And that just comes with the territory, sadly. But there are some weird things with this, though. Like, I love Charlie. Obviously, a lot of people love Charlie, but I don't understand how somebody could hate Charlie so much enough to go and brutally murder him in front of thousands of people. Like, it takes a special kind of sickness and hatred that I can't even imagine having for somebody. And I've witnessed, I've been the victim of really bad things, and I still didn't wish death on any of my enemies. So for this Tyler guy to want to kill Charlie Kirk because he wants, he's pro-life, or because he wants the, First Amendment to exist, it almost, it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. So obviously, let's not believe all the conspiracies, but just the story, this whole entire event, it doesn't feel real. So I think that's why people are trying to find answers in a situation where there's not a lot of answers right now.
The media has also been pretty horrible reporting on Charlie Kirk's death. I mean, we've heard suggestions on places like MSNBC that Charlie Kirk essentially deserved to die. And today, as prosecutors revealed more details about Tyler Robinson, the suspect, they also revealed text messages between Tyler Robinson and his trans boyfriend. And this is how the ABC News decided to cover it.
We have seen an alleged murder with such specific text messages about the alleged murder weapon, where it was hidden, how it was placed, what was on it, but also it was very touching in a way that I think many of us didn't expect. A very intimate portrait into this relationship between the suspect's roommate and the suspect himself, with him repeatedly calling his roommate, who is transitioning, calling him my love, and I want to protect you, my love. So it was this duality of someone who the attorney said not only jeopardized the life of Charlie Kirk and the crowd, but was doing it in front of children, which is one of the aggravating circumstances of this case. And on the other hand, he was, speaking so lovingly about his partner. So a very interesting and, as Pierre said, riveting press conference, David.
I mean, what on earth was that? Speaking very lovingly about his partner, describing it as very touching. I mean, this is an alleged murderous monster, and they're painting him out, or they're describing him, I should say, or suggesting that he's some sort of romantic, Alex.
everybody needs to clip this, guys. This is what we're dealing with here in America, is that a person brutally murdered a father of 2 kids in front of his own wife. And ABC is going to come on and romanticize some sort of weird text message exchange with the killer and their transgender boyfriend. We have lost the plot in America. ABC is basically the enemy of the people.
Yeah.
And for him to try to sensationalize or romanticize their text messages makes me absolutely sick. And that's the only way you can feel like there's nothing romantic about him sending a text message to a person admitting that he killed Charlie Kirk. Literally nothing romantic about it. It's the most repugnant thing. And for him to even describe it like that shows that broadcaster, broadcaster is obviously mentally ill, or he's dating a trans person. I don't know which it is, but it doesn't make sense to romanticize something so horrible.
I can't believe it. It's disgusting. I don't know why I'm still shocked anymore, but that's up there. That shocks me. Now, Attorney General Pam Bondi is being slammed for saying there's no place for hate speech. Listen to this.
There's free speech and then there's hate speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie, in our society.
Do you see more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people, so we show them that some action is better than no action?
We will absolutely target you, go after you if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything, and that's across the aisle.
Now, Alex, she's being slammed for this because Charlie Kirk was, of course, a huge advocate for free speech. He wanted to keep America free. He wrote in a post last year, hate speech does not exist legally in America. There's ugly speech, there's gross speech, there's evil speech, and all of it is protected by the First Amendment. Keep America free. I mean, can I get your thoughts on what Pam Bondi had to say there?
Well, it makes me lose my faith in Pam Bondi, literally doing the exact opposite of what Charlie Kirk would want. I mean, you even see his tweets. He was a free speech absolutist. He didn't care what you're going to say. He believed in your First Amendment right to say it. So Pam Bondi saying that they're going to create hate speech laws goes against every single thing that Charlie Kirk stood for. So I hate it. I don't like hate speech laws. They can definitely be manipulated and used in the future. In another pandemic, they might say that if you criticize a vaccine, that's considered hate speech. So I don't like the opportunity that I know the government could use to enforce these hate speech laws, or, it's going to be very vague. So here in America, if you want to say something bad, that's your God-given right by the Constitution. And Pam Bondi saying that she wants to create hate speech laws, it goes against what Charlie truly wanted.
It does. Finally, before I let you go, Alex, we cannot forget Iryna Zarytska, the 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee who was murdered in cold blood while on a train in Charlotte, North Carolina. A close friend of hers shared this video paying tribute to her.
Take a look at yonder. Take a look at yonder. Take a look at yonder. Take a look at yonder, where the sun done gone. He was take a look at yonder. Blindly take a look at yonder. Take a look at yonder. Take a look at yonder, where the sun done gone. Breaking news. Take a look at yonder.
Alex, I still think of Charlie Kirk because he was one of the few key voices really speaking out for Iryna Zarytska, because as we know, the media didn't want to cover her death.
The mainstream media did not cover it whatsoever because it paints a narrative that they don't want to expose the public to, which paints a picture that first of all, they want to make it white versus black, but this is a serious issue. A guy with 14 previous arrests was able to go brutally murder a refugee from the Ukraine. So it's not about black or white. It's about that we have a judicial system that actually helps criminals and punishes people for following the law. Like Iryna got punished for trying to have a job, ride, the public transportation so she can save money. She's trying to struggle here in America. And what does she get for doing that hard work and trying to live the American dream? She gets stabbed by a criminal that should have been in jail a long time ago. So it's not necessarily a white or black problem. It's a judicial system that benefits criminals and hurts the law-abiding citizen. So it's a terrible tragedy what happened to Iryna, and Charlie, before he passed away, was a very vocal supporter of her. So I think we just in this terrible time need to support both of them.
And it was one of Charlie's last messages speaking about Iryna Zarytska. Alex Stein, we have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time. Joining us now from Windsor for all the royal news is UK barrister and broadcaster and president of Octopus TV, Andrew Eborn. Andrew, it is wonderful to see you. Donald Trump.
It's always a joy to see you.
Thank you. Donald Trump and his wife, First Lady Melania, are in Britain for a two-day state visit hosted by King Charles and Queen Camilla. I want you to take us through every detail. What do we know so far?
Oh, it's wonderful. It is unprecedented, indeed, an unprecedented use of the word unprecedented. It's the second visit. There's going to be pageantry, pomp, and a bit of politics thrown in altogether. The president arrived last night, a few hours ago. He's staying at Winfield House in Regent's Park, very close to me, actually. And he will later on come join me and others down in Windsor. Windsor Castle is literally just behind me from where I'm staying at the moment, which is rather fun. So, as I understand it, he's going to be having a meeting, first of all, in the morning with the Prince and Princess of Wales. They're going to greet the president on the grounds of Windsor Castle. Later on, he'll then be introduced to the Queen and Camilla. After that, they're going to be having a lunch. There's a lot of food involved with this. They're going to be having a lunch, and they're going to visit the Royal Collection. And then he will then be taken to St George's Chapel, where he's going to be laying a wreath for Her Majesty the Queen Elizabeth. They're then going to be a fly past with the red arrows, the glorious red arrows. You're going to be seeing the red, white and blue dominating, punctuating the sky over here. And there's also going to be some UK and US F-35s jets, and they're going to watch that from the east lawn of Windsor Castle. They're also, in amongst all of that, going to be having a carriage ride through the Windsor ground. There's a lot of this going on.
Wow.
And then tonight, it's that fantastic white tie dinner, state banquet. And as you say, this is the first time, an unprecedented second state visit. Normally what happens is they get invited around for a cup of tea, but they decide to roll out the red carpet. And President Trump, he loves the royals. He talks about Charles being his great friend. He talks about him being an elegant gentleman. And he's obsessed, as indeed was his mother, with the royal family.
Yes, yes, he was. And I'm looking forward to seeing all the colour from this state banquet. I believe over 160 guests will be attending. It's going to be exciting to watch. Now, Prince Harry...
I'll get you a doggy bag.
Oh, please do, with all that food. Yes, send it all the way to Sydney. Let's talk about Prince Harry. He says that his conscience, if I can say that word, Prince Harry says that his conscience is clear after spending years, of course, rubbishing the royal family, particularly throughout his memoir, Spare. While speaking to The Guardian while on a work trip, he said, "I don't believe that I aired my dirty laundry in public. It was a difficult message, but I did it in the best way possible. My conscience is clear." The best way possible. That's one way of putting it.
Best way possible is to be paid for it. That's got to be good. And he's doing rather well and got a bit of spare cash as well. It's got to be good. He said it's not about revenge, and that's the important thing. It's not about revenge. It's about the truth and setting the record straight. That's why he did it. As predicted on your very show, exclusive, we did say he was going to meet the king, and I'm delighted that he got back together with his father. It was just a short period of time, less than an hour, but they had a cup of tea, and it did sound as though he's sort of paving the way forward. He says, look, his focus is now going to be on his father. He's going to introduce King Charles's grandchildren, so that'll be wonderful as well. And I think we're going to be seeing more of Harry. I mean, it was a very positive visit this time. He gave money to charity. He was mingling with the crowds. The crowd seemed to adore him over here. He also made a surprise visit over to Ukraine, which not many people were expecting. So he worked on that sort of basis. I think he did rather well on the PR front this time.
Okay, interesting to note. He also celebrated his 41st birthday, and of course his wife Meghan Markle shared a photograph of Prince Harry that dates back to 2015 to wish him a happy birthday. What are your thoughts on the message from Meghan Markle?
Well, it went all over their ears. By the way, it's 2050. Harry was 41 on the 15th of September. And she put a little post on Instagram saying, "Oh, hi, birthday boy." And I'm sure in those sort of dulcet tones was rather good. That picture was taken for the 75th anniversary of the Battle of Britain. And they had all sorts of the largest gathering of Battle of Britain aircraft since World War II. He was supposed to fly up in a Spitfire, but apparently there were mechanical problems. And there were two of these things supposed to go up in the air at the time in 2015. And he gave his seat just very kindly to a 95-year-old Tom Neal back in those sort of days. So again, good stories going out there. But Meghan, yes, this is what she's posted, that little picture. They've been absent for the birthday because he was over here. And it worked well. I think people enjoyed that.
Yeah, well, she never misses an opportunity to post on Instagram, I'll say that much. Also, members of the British royal family, they've gathered in London to farewell Catherine, the Duchess of Kent, who died earlier this month at the age of 92. Now, King Charles led the extended family who arrived at Westminster Cathedral for the first Catholic funeral service held for a member of the royal family in modern British history. What more can you tell us?
Well, I can tell you it was, as you said last week, it was the very first one, as you say, for a very long time since the Reformation, basically. And what happened? Lots of the royals were there, apart from the Queen, because she had an acute sinusitis, I think it is. It's even more difficult to say. And so she couldn't attend, although she's expected to attend later on for the various things with Trump. What was interesting, they had Princess Anne was there. They had Sir Tim Lawrence, the Prince and Princess of Wales. Even Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson were there. Now, Prince Andrew, I know you can see the pictures of him there. He lives on the Windsor estate, but obviously, as I pointed out, it broke the news here last week. He's not attending the state dinner tonight, so he'll be absent in Windsor, but he was certainly at the funeral. What was wonderful about the Duchess of Kent was she dedicated a lot of her time to music, and she used to teach a little primary school for about 13 years, and she would never tell anybody that she was a royal, so all the parents and all the children just used to know her as Mrs. Kent.
Wow.
And she never let on, but she was a wonderful lady, a much loved royal. She was 92 years of age, and it's good this is sort of restore your faith in the royal family. They've had a few difficulties over the last several years, but she was one of the good ones.
Oh, yeah, a few difficulties indeed. And now finally, before I let you go, Princess Diana's former royal chef, Darren McGrady, has opened up about the late princess's favourite breakfast. And it appears that Princess Diana was ahead of her time. Her go-to breakfast was something very simple. Can you tell us?
No, you're absolutely right. We would love a good fry up here. You know, you'd have your eggs, your bacon, your black pudding, and half a rainforest of other bits and pieces as well. The reality is this: 20 years ahead of her time, in 1993, she was having these overnight oats. I know you like those all the time. Very simple and healthy to prepare. And apparently what happened, they're all very fashionable now, and lots of people will be having them for breakfast as they watch this on repeat on a continuous loop. So that's with the overnight oats. Apparently what happened is she visited a wellness retreat in Sweden. And in those early days, in 1993, the early 90s, this is what they were eating. So she thought, well, I'll have some of that. And apparently this is what Darren McGrady was saying, the former royal chef, that this was one of her favourite ways to start the day.
There you go. I love all the food content that we've been discussing here on this program. Andrew Eborn, thank you so much for your time, joining us all the way from Windsor. Really appreciate it.
Lovely to see you as always.
And that is Power Hour. Thank you for your company. We'll see you next week. Make sure you subscribe to Sky News Australia on YouTube.